Traffic was slowed down at the intersection of Wellington Street and Churchill Boulevard around 10 o'clock yesterday morning as a result of a two-vehicle collision involving a white Dodge Journey and a white Subaru Forester. Sault Ste. Marie Police Constable Sunny Spina said the occupants of the vehicles were assessed on scene and sustained minor injuries, but no one was sent to hospital. That investigation is ongoing. Canadian Foreign Minister Chrystia Freeland raised the possibility that a second Canadian citizen may have been detained in China as a Chinese tech executive remains free on bail at home in Vancouver.
Ms. Meng was arrested pursuant to Canada's extradition treaty with the United States. There was no political involvement. The case is before the Canadian courts and is being considered in Canada's judicial system as it ought to be. We have been in regular contact with the Chinese authorities about this case. Our ambassador to China, John McCallum, has spoken to the Chinese government on more than one occasion to provide them with information about the process. I spoke to China's ambassador to Canada today. Ms. Meng has been released on bail, and we will continue to ensure that the Chinese government is kept up to date on the next steps in the judicial process. I'd also like to speak about the detention of a Canadian citizen in China, Mr. Michael Kovrig. I can confirm the reports of his detention. Canada is deeply concerned by the detention of Mr. Kovrig, and Canada has raised the case directly with Chinese officials. We're providing consular assistance to Mr. Kovrig's family and remain very seized of this case.
Security analysts warn that allowing Chinese firm Huawei Technologies to help build Canada's 5G wireless network could give Beijing backdoor access to revealing data about Canadians, but at least one intelligence expert is skeptical the Chinese government would risk the international reputation of a marquee corporate star by making the company hand over such information. As the federal government weighs Huawei's possible participation in the next generation telecommunications system, the ultimate question is, how much weight will Canada place on fears of inappropriate data harvesting or full-blown espionage? The question has been percolating since long before Canada arrested Huawei's chief financial officer, Ming Wanzhou, in Vancouver on an American request, and will still be there after Ming's case has been resolved. For the record, Huawei stresses it is not a state-controlled enterprise and that it would never facilitate intelligence gathering on behalf of Chinese or any other country. However, China's national intelligence law plainly states that Chinese organizations and citizens shall support, assist, and cooperate with state intelligence work, stirring up national security concerns in Canada. Some Huawei products are already in the fourth-generation networks that millions of Canadians use for wireless internet access. The development of a 5G or fifth-generation telecom network will enable much faster internet connections and provide vast data capacity to satisfy ever-expanding demands to do more in cyberspace. Private companies, big ones such as BCE and TELUS, will do the building, but the federal government could forbid them to use certain products to do it. The Chinese firm's possible participation in Canada's 5G infrastructure is widely expected to mean more than just antennas and wires, such as software that will need maintenance and upgrades. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and other MPs said their goodbyes yesterday to Parliament Hill's centre block before it closes for 10 years of renovations. Conservative leader Andrew Scheer called it more than just a building.
When you think about this room and all it's seen, these stones witnessed Winston Churchill speaking to Canadians. The stained glass windows reverberated with the voice of John F. Kennedy Jr. The benches upon which we lean supported us through debates on repatriating the Constitution and free trade. These lights shone down on Malala Yousafzai. This carpet was walked on by Barack Obama. Really? This is just a room, Mr. Speaker. This is just a place. It's a lovely room. It's a lovely place. It's filled with history and stories. But this is not the centre of our democracy. Democracy happens whenever MPs gather, roll up their sleeves, get to work on building a better future for Canadians.
It is the embodiment of all of Canada's strengths and weaknesses. It has been burned to the ground and risen from the ashes, seen tragedy, and heard the greatest and most stirring words of our leaders. It has heard the echoes of gunfire, as many people in this chamber still no doubt recall. It has rung with cheers of victory at the end of 2 world wars, and it has stood mute witness to the tears of a nation. After this week, and for the next 10 years, our House will have a new home.